Fat, overweight. Eat less. Go for a walk. Hit the gym. You ruined my love life. I wish you were never born. These are the words I've heard from my own mother for as long as I can remember. Every word stings. Every insult cuts deeper than the last. It's not like I chose to be fat. I barely even eat. Sometimes I go the whole day on just water and a banana. Yet, she still looks at me like I'm disgusting. I feel so ashamed. Most nights after dinner, I go into the bathroom, shut the door quietly, trying to undo the damage with desperate rituals. I kneel in front of the toilet, sweating, shaking, just to get the food out. Maybe then I'll be lighter. Maybe then she'll love me. But no matter how many times I try, I don't lose a pound. My mother never shows me love. Never hugs me, never calls me beautiful. All she sees is my weight, and somehow she blames me for everything wrong in her life. She says I ruined her love story. She says if I hadn't come into her life, things would have been different, better. I never asked to be born. I never asked to look this way. She talks about her past like it's a fairy tale gone wrong, especially about a boy named Justin. She says he was her first love. They met in secondary school. He was sweet, tall, and calm. She always dreamed that they would grow old together, get married, and live in a big house with neat white curtains and flower gardens. Her eyes shine when she talks about him. But it didn't happen that way. She met someone else. My father. His name was Julius. He was a year ahead of her in school. Unlike Justin, he wasn't soft. He was bold. My mother said he walked like someone who knew where he was going in life. She was drawn to him instantly. They met during youth fellowship in church. Julius was part of the ushering team, always arranging chairs, always serious. He hardly spoke to anyone, but when he smiled, it felt like sunshine. That's what she said. They became close. Started walking home together after fellowship. At first, she told Justin about Julius, but when Justin didn't take it seriously, she slowly drifted away. Her heart was now beating for someone else. My grandmother, her mother, didn't approve of any of it. She believed a girl should focus on her studies and leave boys alone. "You're too young," she would scream. "What do you know about love?" But my mother didn't care. She was in love, and in her heart, Julius was her future. They had a secret place, a quiet corner behind the uncompleted building near church. That's where they met every Sunday after service. They would talk, laugh, and sometimes just sit in silence. Then, one day, something changed. My mother's period didn't come. At first, she thought it was stress, maybe school pressure, maybe she was just tired. But when a whole week passed, she started to panic. Her breasts felt heavy. She was getting headaches. Something didn't feel right. She didn't know who to talk to. Definitely not her mother. She would kill her. Not her friends. Too risky. So she waited until their next secret meeting and told Julius. "I think I might be pregnant," she whispered. He didn't flinch. He didn't yell or walk away. He looked her in the eye and said, "Let's find out first. Do the test. If it's true, then we'll plan." The next day, my mother took her little savings and bought a pregnancy test kit from the pharmacy near the market. She hid it in her school bag and waited until everyone was asleep before going to the bathroom. Her heart was pounding. Her hands were shaking. She read the instructions twice, then did the test. She sat on the toilet seat, staring at the window on the test stick. First there was one line. Then, slowly, another faint line began to appear. She blinked, rubbed her eyes, looked again. 2 lines. Positive. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She smiled. Unlike most teenage girls who would panic, my mother felt happy. She touched her stomach gently and whispered, "You're really in there." She wrapped the test stick in tissue and hid it under her clothes in the wardrobe. The next day, she rushed to meet Julius behind the uncompleted building. "It's positive," she said. He looked at her, then pulled her into a hug. "We'll run away," he said. We'll build our life together. I'll find work. You'll take care of the baby. We'll be fine." My mother believed him. She believed every word. "I can't stay long today. My mum is around and she wants me home early," he said, already stepping back. She blinked. "Oh, okay. When will I see you?" "Soon," he said quickly and walked away. That was the last time she ever saw Julius. Days turned into weeks. He stopped coming to church. He stopped answering her texts. His number stopped going through. She went to his house once, but the gate man said they had moved out 2 days ago. She sat under that same mango tree and cried. Her love story ended before it began. Then came the morning her mother noticed something. It started with her vomiting. Then her uniform wouldn't zip up properly. Her mother, sharp and quick, knew something was off. "You're pregnant, aren't you?" she shouted. Tears filled her eyes as she nodded. The house turned into a war zone. Her mother broke plates, screamed at the top of her lungs and called her all sorts of names. "Useless girl, just like your father." Then the suggestion came. "Lunch with Lydia in the dining room. Do you think you can bring shame into this house and stay?" her mother shouted. But my mother said no. She refused. "This child is a piece of my love. Even if Julius is gone, this baby is part of him. I will keep it." So she endured the shame. Neighbours whispered. Church members avoided her. Her school asked her to stay at home for a while, but she held her belly with pride. Until the day I was born. I came into the world heavy, silent and different. I didn't look anything like Julius. My skin was darker, my eyes were different, and I came with a rare medical condition that made me obese from birth. While other babies were light and tiny, I was round and bigger than normal. That wasn't what my mother imagined. She stared at me with blank eyes. Not love, not hate, just blank. That was the beginning of our story. Growing up, I didn't even know what a mother's love felt like. She would get dressed in short skirts and heels, paint her lips red and leave me at home alone. Clubbing became her lifestyle. She would come home drunk, smelling of perfume and sweat. Every parent-teacher meeting at school, she never came. I would sit in class, watching other kids hug their mothers and show them their drawings. I always told my teacher that my mother had travelled, even though she was probably sleeping off a hangover somewhere. No birthday celebration, no cake, no balloons. On my 7th birthday, I asked if we could bake a small cake together. She looked at me, laughed and said, "What are we celebrating?" "That you're still here." Those words stayed with me. I grew up believing I was a mistake, that I wasn't wanted. My classmates bullied me, called me fat cow, puff puff, elephant girl. I never fought back. I believed them. I believed I was ugly and useless, just like my mother said. Then one day something happened that broke me completely. It was a Thursday. I came back from school, my socks dusty, my bag heavy. As I opened the door, I heard laughter from the living room. My mother was sitting with a man. He looked polished, wearing a white kaftan and brown leather sandals. He had a soft voice and a warm smile. I walked in quietly. She looked at me, rolled her eyes and said, "Oh, that's my niece." I froze. My late sister adopted her. After her sister died, I took her in. "Poor girl, we're not blood, but I try my best," she added, sipping her drink. I couldn't breathe. I looked at her, my mouth slightly open. She didn't even blink. The man turned to me and smiled kindly. "Nice to meet you, dear." I nodded, tears forming in my eyes. I walked slowly to my room and shut the door. I didn't even remove my school bag. I sat on the bed and cried into my pillow. Deep, heavy sobs. That was the moment. I realized my own mother was ashamed of me, that she would rather deny me than claim me in front of someone she liked. Minutes later, she barged into my room. "Don't come out today," she said sharply. "Stay in here. And don't expect any food. You already look filled up." Then she slammed the door. I dropped to the floor, hugging my knees. "God," I whispered. "Why does my mother treat me like this? What did I ever do wrong?" My stomach growled, but the pain in my heart was louder. I sat stiffly in front of my computer that day, my fingers shaking slightly as I opened the search bar. I was tired of wondering, tired of hoping, tired of being treated like I didn't matter. That morning, after another insult from my mother, this time about how I looked like a hippo in my school uniform, I made a decision I never thought I would. I was going to find my father. She had mentioned his name enough times, especially during her angry rants. If not for Julius and his cursed seed, Julius this, Julius that, the name had carved itself into my memory. I opened Facebook and typed Julius. Too many results. I narrowed it down. Julius Ease, Nigeria. Still too many. I clicked and scrolled for hours, searching each profile, looking at faces, reading bios, but I didn't find him. I almost gave up. Then something caught my eye. A woman's profile. Her name was Madam Loveth Ease, and she looked like me. I blinked and zoomed into her profile picture. We had the same jawline, same eyes, same sharp cheekbones. My heart began to race. Her last name was Ease, same as Julius. Maybe his mother, or an aunt? I clicked through her photos. One showed her standing in front of a gate that looked familiar. Maybe I'd seen that house before in one of my mother's old photo albums. I didn't hesitate. I clicked the message icon. "Hello, Ma. My name is Joy. I believe I may be related to you. Please, can we talk?" Then I waited and waited. Nothing. I double-texted. "Please, I'm sorry to bother you, Ma. I just want to know my father." Still nothing. An hour passed, then a day. I gave up checking every 5 minutes, but somewhere deep down I was hoping she'd reply. Every morning, before school, I'd check again. Nothing. Until one Friday morning. It was after my mother had called me a useless burden again, because I forgot to sweep the sitting room. I was in my room, wiping tears from my face, when my phone buzzed. A message. "Hello, this is my number. Call me Madame Love." I almost screamed. My fingers trembled as I dialed her number. My heart beat so fast I thought it would burst. She picked up on the second ring. "Hello," she said. Her voice was calm. I introduced myself quickly, trying not to sound too emotional. She was quiet for a while, then said, "I know who you are. I know your mother. Can you meet me tomorrow?" "Yes, Ma." "Yes," I replied quickly. She gave me the address of a quiet cafe in town. I didn't sleep well that night. My mind was spinning. I imagined hugs, tears of joy, maybe even a surprise visit from Julius himself. Maybe they had just been waiting for the right moment to find me. The next day at school dragged like a snail. As usual, no one talked to me. The only thing my classmates said was, "Make space, elephant," as I tried to sit. I didn't even argue. I just stared out the window, waiting for the bell. When I got to the cafe, I was early. I found a seat by the window. I kept rubbing my palms on my skirt, trying to stop the sweat. Then I saw her. She walked in slowly, wearing a clean iroh and blouse, her gold earrings swinging gently. She looked like a rich version of me. Older, sharper, more confident. She saw me and nodded. "You must be Joy," she said. "Yes, Ma." I stood quickly and greeted her, the way my teachers taught us to greet elders. She sat down and stared at me. "You look just like me," she said quietly. Too much like me, in fact. I smiled faintly. "I've always wanted to know who I looked like." She didn't smile back. "You know, your mother. Her name is Linda, right?" "Yes, Ma." She nodded again. Then something strange happened. She reached into her bag and pulled out a brown envelope. She placed it on the table in front of me. I looked at it. "That's 100,000 naira," she said flatly. I looked at her. My son is doing well, she continued. He's a respected astrologist now. He has a family, a perfect life. People look up to him. I'm not going to let one teenage mistake ruin that image. My mouth was dry. I'm sorry, Joy. You may be his blood, but you are not part of his future. Please take the money and leave things the way they are. Don't contact us again. I didn't touch the envelope. Tears welled up in my eyes. My lips trembled. Another door had closed. Another hope had been shattered. I returned home that day, my legs shaking with every step. My eyes were swollen, my lips dry from crying so much. My heart felt like a stone in my chest. I couldn't breathe properly. I kept replaying the scene at the cafe in my head. The money on the table, the cold look in that woman's eyes, the silence that screamed louder than her words. As I walked into the house, it was empty, as usual. My mother had gone out, probably to a bar or a club or some rich man's house. I dropped my bag on the chair and went into my room, locking the door behind me. Then I fell on my bed and cried into my pillow. God, why? What did I do to deserve this? I sat up and looked at the ceiling like I was expecting an answer. I spoke out loud. Why did you make me this way? Why did you let her give birth to me if she was going to hate me? Why did you give me this body? Why didn't you let her abort me like she wanted? I held my head in my hands, rocking back and forth. I'm tired, God. I'm so tired. Then the thoughts came like whispers. End it. End the pain. No one would care. In fact, they'd be happy. That was when I made the decision. No more crying. No more pretending I was okay. I needed to end it all. The pain, the rejection, the sadness, the bullying, the hate. All of it. I walked straight into the bathroom and opened the small cabinet. My mother always kept some pills in there. She said they helped with her headache and stress. I found the bottle. It was full. I took it and walked back to my room. The whole house was quiet. I sat on my bed and stared at the tablets in my hand. One by one, I poured them into my palm. They looked harmless, small, white, innocent. But I knew what they could do. I looked around my room. It was small and plain, nothing fancy, nothing bright. There were no photos on the wall, no memories to hold on to. Will anyone even miss me? I whispered to myself. I answered myself, no. They'll probably be relieved. I squeezed my eyes shut and lifted my hand. It's time. But then something happened. My phone rang. I ignored it. It rang again. Then again. Angrily, I grabbed it, ready to throw it across the room. But when I looked at the screen, I paused. A known number. My heart skipped. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to. Hello? I said, my voice hoarse from crying. There was a pause. Then a man's voice came through. Hello, this is Julius. I froze. It was like time stopped. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. My throat was tight. My heart beat loudly in my ears. Hello, he said again, his voice trembling a bit. I finally found my voice. You don't have to worry about me anymore, I whispered. I'll be gone in 10 minutes. Please don't say anything. I know I'm a burden to you and your family. There was silence. Then I heard him yell softly. What? No, 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 no. Please, don't say that. His voice was shaking. Please tell me where you are. Let me come to you. I've been looking for you for years. Please, my daughter, don't do anything to yourself. I won't be able to live with it. I felt it. The pain in his voice. The desperation. The love. Real love. Not the fake kind my mother showed only when people were around. This was different. Tears poured down my cheeks as I slowly lowered my hand, the pills still resting in my palm. I dropped them on the table and picked up my phone again. I'm sorry, I said. I didn't know. I thought... Please just tell me where you are, he pleaded. I texted him my address. Not up to 20 minutes later, I heard the sound of a car screeching outside. I peeked through the window. A black SUV had parked in front of the house. The knock came fast, strong, and loud. I opened the door, and there he was. Tears already in his eyes. He rushed in and hugged me before I could say anything. "I'm so sorry," he said, over and over again. "I didn't abandon you. I swear I didn't. My mother sent me away to Canada the moment she found out your mum was pregnant. She blocked all my calls, changed my number, even forced me to cut ties. I tried. I really tried." I clung to him like a baby. He cried as he talked. One of our old drivers told me what happened. He said my mother paid your mum off and kept it a secret. I've been searching ever since. I swear. His voice cracked. I could see the guilt, the heartbreak, the truth. I cried too. Not because I was sad, but because for the first time in my life, someone actually came for me. Someone chose me. My father. We sat together in the living room, holding hands, both crying quietly. He kept saying, "I'm here now. I promise I won't leave again." And for the first time in forever, I believed someone. As we sat on the couch in the sitting room, the air between us was thick with unspoken words. My father, Julius, tried to bridge the years with gentle questions and soft smiles. I answered, but the connection felt tentative, like a fragile thread weaving between us. Still, his presence brought a comfort I hadn't known before. Then, the front door creaked open. My mother stumbled in, her steps unsteady, her eyes glazed. She looked like someone trying to relive her youth, dressed in clothes too tight and makeup too heavy. But the moment she saw Julius, her demeanour shifted. Her eyes widened, and she straightened up, attempting to mask the scent of alcohol with a forced smile. "Julius," she slurred, feigning surprise. "You're back. It's been so long." He stood up, his face a mix of emotions. "Hello, Amara," he said, his voice steady. She moved closer, placing a hand on his arm. "I've raised our daughter all by myself," she began, her voice trembling with feigned emotion. "It's been hard, but I've given her all the love I could." Julius gently removed her hand. "I appreciate that, but I need to ask you something." He paused, looking deeply into her eyes. "Why did you treat her the way you did? Why the neglect, the harsh words?" Amara's face hardened. "I did my best," she snapped. "You left me to deal with everything alone." "I was sent away," he replied, his voice rising slightly. "But that doesn't excuse your behaviour. She almost took her own life because of the pain." Amara's eyes flashed with anger. "And now you're back to judge me? After all these years?" She turned to me, her voice dripping with venom. "You've ruined my life again. First by being born, now by bringing him back." Julius stepped between us. "That's enough," he said firmly. He turned to me, his eyes softening. "Pack your things. You're coming with me." I hesitated, looking at my mother one last time. Her face was a mask of rage and resentment. Without a word, I went to my room and gathered my belongings. The drive to Julius's home was quiet. He glanced at me occasionally, his eyes filled with concern. When we arrived, a woman opened the door, her face lighting up with a warm smile. "You must be Amina," she said, embracing me gently. "I'm Naya, your stepmother." Two children peeked from behind her, their eyes wide with curiosity. "These are your siblings, Tunde and Zuri," Nia introduced. They stepped forward, each giving me a shy hug. For the first time in my life, I felt a sense of belonging. Over the next few weeks, I settled into my new home. Nia treated me with kindness, involving me in family activities and ensuring I felt included. Julius spent time with me, listening to my stories and sharing his own. Tunde and Zuri became my companions, their laughter filling the house. One evening, Julius sat me down. "I want you to know," he began, "that you're loved and valued. I'm sorry for all the pain you've endured." Tears welled up in my eyes. "Thank you," I whispered. In that moment, surrounded by a family that accepted me, I felt a healing begin. The scars of my past didn't disappear, but they started to fade, replaced by new memories of love and acceptance. My journey wasn't over, but for the first time, I looked forward to the future with hope. As the months passed, I began to bloom in ways I never thought possible. My weight didn't magically disappear and the scars of the past didn't vanish overnight, but I had something I never had before. Love, safety, and a family that saw me, truly saw me. Julius, my father, became a steady presence in my life, cheering me on at school functions, helping with homework, and telling everyone who cared to listen that I was his daughter. Nia, my stepmother, became more of a mother than I had ever known. She never tried to erase my past, but instead helped me heal through it, one patient hug at a time. My siblings, Tunde and Zuri, treated me like I had always belonged, pulling me into their world of laughter, games, and silly secrets. Eventually I started therapy, and slowly I began to understand that my mother's rejection wasn't my fault. Her bitterness was her burden, not mine to carry. One sunny afternoon, as I stood in front of my school assembly to receive a leadership award, I looked out into the crowd and saw them, my family, beaming with pride. I smiled, not because everything was perfect, but because I had found my place in the world. I am not my mother's shame. I am not a mistake. I am loved. I am enough. And for the first time in my life, I believed it. Truly, this is not just my ending. It's my beginning.